Welcome home, Raiders. This week, the Big Raiding blog hits the World of Warcraft web, and we will dig in. Olivia Grace also got a chance to follow up with Ian Hazzikostas. We'll see what he had to say. A whole bunch more. This is episode 141.
You're listening to Convert to Raid, the podcast for Raiders in the World of Warcraft.
The Convert to Raid Command Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today is May the 4th, 2014, and may the 4th be with you, of course. It is now 11:14 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and thank you so much for joining us from all around World of Warcraft land. My name is Pat Crane. I am the host of this little shindig here. I'll turn down the music just a little bit more. Just a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's so nice. It's so strong. It's so powerful, the music. All right, and I am known as Zug from around Airy Peak, U.S., and still raiding, of course, and so are the fellas. Let's get to them. From the Emerald City, Serene, Seattle, it is Darius. Hey, Darius.
Hi.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm wet. It's done nothing but rain for the last 2 days, so, you know.
Cool.
Welcome to Seattle.
Welcome to Seattle, and may the 4th be with you.
I'm not doing that.
No, of course you're not.
I'm sorry.
I will.
I refuse to do it until I get my 50-cent Star Wars themed headphones.
And the person that's going to be supplying you with those is from La La Land, from Hollyweird. He is the Funky Monk. It's Coltrane. Hey, Colt.
In honor of Star Wars Day, May the 4th, fortune cookies say,
Oh, boy.
if you're dating someone who doesn't like Star Wars, you're looking for love in Alderaan places. In Alderaan places. Like all the wrong, but it's Alderaan.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
I guess it's relevant.
It's so relevant.
It's relevant.
It's so relevant.
Oh, and I'm getting 12 out of 10. I'm getting some yeses and a boo.
You got a boo. You got a boo.
That's 100 out of 10 bongos there.
You got a
Looking for love in Alderaan places. I mean, come on, it's great. Well, that was sent in by Crazy Train, a Draenor warrior on Airy Peak. So thank you very much.
That is crazy. That's totally crazy. Hi, fellas.
Hello.
It's so nice to be hanging out with you again on a Sunday morning. And it's been a good week for me, I know. How's the week been for you? Let's start. Colt, how's it been for you? How's raiding going? How's everything in game going for you?
Raiding's going well. I am gonna be leaving on a jet plane.
Yeah.
I'm leaving soon. I'm going to Russia. Probably not the best time, but I figure, we booked this like a year and a half ago, and we're like, well, let's go to Russia and maybe, swing by the Ukraine on the way, little stop in. And so we're leaving. So it's really been just a lot of like getting the house in order, getting everything packed up, getting everything ready to go, because we leave soon. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck, buddy. That's kind of a weird place to go right now.
Right.
But yeah.
Booked this about a year and a half ago.
Right.
So,
that sounds fun, though. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun trip.
Should be a good time.
Any kind of big trip like that is always fun. I mean, last year I went to Italy. That was a blast. Right. And so I'm guessing that you'll probably have just as much fun as I had last year. So that's what I'm hoping for you. Because it was fun.
Right.
It was fun.
Yeah, so it should be a good time. Looking forward to it. Rating's going really well. Team's doing good. I gotta admit, I'm gonna miss like a raid. I'm gonna miss like 2 of them. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I guess I got the raiding bug because I'm gonna be missing the raids. So
what's your team name again?
I believe they're called something like, I don't know, Rectify.
Rectify!
Yeah.
Rectify!
Rectified. Yeah!
That's the one. That's the one.
Woo!
That's the one.
Check us out at rectified.com. WRECKEDIFIED.com. I know it's weird.
Right.
But anyway, we're getting geared up for Mythic. Team's doing great. Having a great time. So things are good.
Good. So, Darius, what's been up with you in game lately?
In game, so we've been raiding with the Asparagus.
Yep.
Let's see. We are up to Malkorok. We spent a whole lot of time wiping on Mr. Malkorok.
This is true.
Yeah. A lot of new people coming in because we're still looking for people. We're still going through people trying to find the right fit and that kind of stuff. So that's been a little hard. You know, just the pains of growing from 10 to 25 and trying to find the right people. Not just skill, but attitude and being able to put up with me. Is most of it.
Well, and that is one of the big things that you do have to put up with Darius, and he is known. He has a reputation around the guild for certain things,
and maybe on this show as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
but what most people don't know is that I actually take all the fortune cookies Colt says, and I just repeat them ad nauseum during raids.
Right.
When I'm angry,
he loves them.
This is true. This is true. This is not.
I've given up on yelling, and now it's just fortune cookies.
Right, but it's like angry. Like we wipe, and it's fortune cookies.
Yeah, he uses it as a punishment for everybody in the raid.
Which is crazy, by the way. That doesn't make sense. You're bringing joy and laughter to the world.
But in an angry fashion.
Right.
So, yeah. It is tough going from 10 to 25. I mean, it's not an easy thing, right? I mean, you have to figure out not only compositionally is it kind of a little bit difficult because, okay, well, I need so many healers and it would be great if, at least 2 or 3 of them could have like a DPS off spec, but they need to be the right 2 or 3. And you want to be able to include as many people as you can, but at the same time, personality wise, expectations, and then you also have, because we are trying to be a Mythic raid team, there are going to be expectations on skill level and what they can do on a particular fight. So,
but it's really just dealing with Darius. That's really
that's most of it.
Right. That's
right.
Wow.
Right.
That sums it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
But and then in a couple months' time, we'll take our 25-man team that we've honed and fine-tuned, and we'll go to 20. So
yeah. Exactly. We'll take those 25 people that we've come to grow and love and rely on, and we'll say goodbye to 5 of them. Yep. No, I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I'm having fun with it. It's a different beast, though. It really is.
I sure hope Blizz gives us some notice when 6-0, because I'm assuming all this 20-man stuff, because that's going to hit. Mythic will hit during Siege.
Yeah.
So we're going to hopefully get some kind of heads up, by the way, so we're going to be doing this. Yeah, right. So we're going to be doing this 20-man Mythic raiding in Siege. Now, the bosses won't be more difficult or they won't have extra phases. It'll still be the same boss encounters, but everything's going to get pulled back. So heroic raiding will now become normal raiding. Mythic will become heroic and so. So I hope we get a little heads up so we can kind of help get the teams together, practice, get everything good to go before we head into Warlords.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be nice.
That'd be great. Ian, we know you're listening, so just do it.
Maybe please. Just a day or 2 heads up would be great.
Even like a week maybe or 2 would be great.
Well, let's not push it, but a week, maybe 2 would be wonderful.
That would be awesome. It'd be like, hey, warning, here comes a life change for you guys. Exactly. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
No, we don't need it. Screw it.
You're good.
Surprise us. I don't know.
What's up with your week, Pat?
Well, my week has been a lot of moving boxes and things of that nature. It's been good. I mean, I don't have as much time in game as I normally do. But the Malkorok stuff is that is a problem. Malkorok right now is our big problem. How many wipes do we have, Darius, on him? We have 45 wipes on the guy, and
easily.
And it's there's so many things in this fight that will kill you, that will absolutely just wipe your raid group. And because we have 25 people, and because we have kind of this it seems like we have a couple of new folks every raid, or we have people jumping in and out. I don't know if it's just not enough practice or what, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I have confidence in it. We're actually doing a lockout on Malkarok for tonight.
Ooh, tonight,
so, yeah, heroic Malkarok. It's going down this week. It's going down. We're gonna just plow through it. We're gonna go up against the wall and see if we can't knock it over.
That's awesome.
So
That's
that'll be
the
good.
Plan,
that'll be good,
at least.
And then other than that, I went to Comic-Con this weekend and in Minneapolis. They're doing a tour for Comic-Con, and that was fabulous, just fabulous.
In Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis, yes.
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis, not Minneapolis.
No. Minneapolis?
No, not
that. What does that state have to offer? Like, check out our cheese? Like, what it's Minneapolis.
It's Minneapolis. Come on, it's a nice city. It's a good town. I like it. You're gonna throw Minneapolis under the bus? You're gonna have
I am. You're gonna have Minneapolis.
You live in LA. Big deal.
Come on. That's a
I think I'm with Colt on this one.
What? Thank you. You hear that? Darius is agreeing.
I don't see
and
the
you're
appeal.
in Seattle. I mean, it's just rain. That's all it is.
Seattle is amazing. It is a beautiful city.
Better than Minneapolis.
Minneapolis is a beautiful town as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll just have to agree to disagree, I guess.
Winter is coming. We'll see how you like Minneapolis then.
Winter sucks. I'll give you that one.
Exactly.
But no, it was good. It was a bunch of big names, and Nathan Fillion, James Hong, Ian was there as well. Ian Ziering. Yeah, Ian Ziering.
It should be Ian.
It should be. But
Ian.
I wanted to walk up to him and go, I loved you in Sharknado.
Right.
I loved you in Sharknado. That was a great
Well, what
time.
else? It's either that or 90210.
Right. That's pretty much it.
You know what I mean?
As long as
fine with that.
As long as we're off topic and as long as it is May the 4th. Let's just dive into some other news before the news.
Yes.
And you called it, Colt. You totally called it last week. At the end of the show, at the end of last week's show, I put in the bit that we were talking about after the show about how Star Wars has to announce their cast very soon.
Yes.
And they did that this week. So, and Max von Sydow is in this, and he is amazing. He played Ming the Merciless in Flash Gordon. He's great. I love him. And Andy Serkis is in everything. That's all I'm going to say about it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
But I love it, man. All the originals are back. Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Han Solo, Gold Harrison Ford. I saw a great meme. It was a picture of Harrison Ford pouring a vodka drink, and it said Han YOLO. He was like pouring drinks. And it said Han YOLO. I thought that was brilliant. But it is May the 4th. It's May the 4th be with you. We got to talk a little bit of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, yes, the big cast is announced. It looks great. A lot of younger guys. This John Boyega is, I guess, really popular. He was in this Attack the Block, but the internet's going crazy over this guy.
Huh.
So I don't know
what's about this guy.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Attack the Block, but I hear it's actually supposed to be great. But he's supposed to be amazing in it. So pretty cool. Pumped for. I got to admit, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I think this is something that all us fellow nerds and geeks share. Is our love for Star Wars. So
yeah,
and Star Trek, of course. We have to remember Star Trek. But yeah, really excited about the casting here.
Right. Yeah, it's good. And the other movie news, I guess, this week is that Duncan Jones actually tweeted out that Warcraft movie filming is going to be over in a few weeks. The filming is almost done, and yet
that seems fast to me.
Well, they've been going since January, right? Since early January.
I mean, that's only 4 months. I don't know how long this stuff takes. That seems quick to me, though.
Yeah, I'm guessing that this might be for like all of the primary stuff that they're doing. They're going to do pickups and they're going to do green screen stuff and things like that of that nature. I would think.
Got to assume a lot of the movie is going to be CG too,
because they've got 2 years left before the movie actually comes out.
Yeah, that's
they
a lot.
Haven't post-production. My part yet either. So
right.
I mean, they can't be done filming because I haven't been on set.
Well, right, clearly. Right. But no, I mean, that sounds about right. But I have heard the whole movie is two guys around a chessboard in Garrison. So not a lot of set pieces. It's just two dudes playing chess.
Now
That's all it is.
Actually, that would be cool if they went back to Kara and did the chess thing.
Yes, that could be potentially amazing.
Or potentially just awful. Just the worst thing in the world. Either way.
You should watch Searching for Bobby Fischer. That's a great movie. Thrilling chess movie. It actually is. But no, it's exciting, man. So they're done shooting, which is great, which is huge. And we saw, I don't know if you guys saw, they had a picture. There was a magazine where they had a shot of on set of Duncan filming a scene, and it looked like they were in Stormwind. It looked like Stormwind in the back, and it looked great. And the guys in the armor, and it looked awesome, man. It got me pumped.
Yeah, that was last week where they kind of let this picture out, and you could see like a Stormwind guard. You could see another dude that looked like he was an Alliance guy, and it really did kind of have that Stormwind look in the background, even though you couldn't really see what was going on.
Yeah.
So
there was some character swinging on a giant wrecking ball in the background. I don't know if you saw that.
Was it Miley Cyrus?
I don't know.
Miley Cyrus there?
I don't know, maybe it was an Easter egg, or maybe that's just going on in the background during this scene.
This is a Warcraft spoof movie, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh man, I don't know.
But it looked good, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited for Warcraft. I think everybody is, man. You know, and you're right. They got done shooting. They got a ton of post production. They got plenty of time. So.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, let's get into some raid news.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is raiding news.
All right, it's time to check out what's happening this week in raiding news. And first up, BlizzCon tickets. Those go on sale this week, guys.
What?
This week. They are already on sale. They announced last week, right? Or whatever. And now it's on sale this week. So get ready.
It's the 7th at 7 p.m. Is that what it is?
That's one of them. That's one of them. The other
Sounders play that day. Can someone buy me a ticket? That'd be good. I'm not going to be around.
You're not going to be around?
Line for me.
Where are you going to be?
There's a Sounders game that night.
Oh, yeah.
Priorities. Hello.
Yeah. You're gonna have to get on your mobile phone and try to hit it up.
That's right. You're not getting a ticket with that attitude, pal.
Yeah, someone will do it. Just get in line. Get me one. Don't get yourself one. Just get me one.
That's a great idea.
That's a perfect idea. That'd be great.
I will not pay you back. Don't worry.
Even better.
Right. I will not pay you back, and I will demand that you give me cookies as well.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to join your raid team as well. This is amazing. This
Right.
sounds great. No, but it's Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m.
Yep.
Tickets are $199.
Right.
Or if you'd like to go to the charity dinner, then you only have to pay $750.
I know. That's pretty great, right?
That's a real bargain.
That is a charity dinner. That is one hell of a charity dinner.
That is one heck of a charity dinner.
Right.
But good news is the charity dinner ticket also gets you into the con, so that's good. So you're getting some value there.
Don't forget the $4 Eventbrite fee per ticket. So it's actually $203.
Are you serious?
Oh.
Yeah. There's a $4 convenience fee.
What?
You're killing us.
Fee.
You're killing us, Blizz. You're killing us.
Convenience fee.
That's not very convenient.
Not at all.
There's nothing convenient about buying BlizzCon tickets.
No.
Holy cow. No, it's good if it goes to charity. That's a wonderful thing. Hopefully, like we said last week, hopefully they have chairs this week for those that need to sit. Anyway, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, just make sure you're ready for this, guys, because you want to make sure that you can get these tickets. And I think we talked about this last week a little bit, but I think we should probably talk about it a little bit again. So Wednesday night, 7 p.m. This is all Pacific time, so it's got to be Pacific time.
Sorry.
And if you really want to get in line and you really want to min-max this release of tickets, I would say get an Eventbrite account, make one as if you will get your tickets, just to speed up the process a little bit more. You don't want to make this a slow process, because if you are able to claim tickets, however many tickets you want, you have 15 minutes to finalize the sale. Otherwise, your tickets go back up on the market. So Get an Eventbrite account. Make an Eventbrite account. Make sure you have all that stuff. Make sure you're logged in, and then you can hit F5 to your heart's content.
It's like raiding. Come prepared. You know, do your homework. Watch videos on Eventbrite.
Flask and food.
Yep. Just be ready. Because when 7:00 hits, we're pulling whether you're ready or not.
Right. Somebody is somewhere.
Now, May 7th at 7 p.m. and then they're also available this coming Saturday as well, May 10th at 10 a.m.
It's kind of nice like that, right?
I'm gonna miss that one too. I'm also leaving on a jet plane. I'm going to San Francisco for a week. So if someone could also get me tickets that day.
So you want 2 tickets just for yourself?
Yeah, just in case the first person doesn't come through. So
this is actually what happens though. We have I know that there were several tickets last year that just went nowhere. They went to no one.
The Asparagus Initiative last year, it's just everyone that could just bought the max amount of tickets, and I think we ended up with like 1 or 2 extra tickets, but everyone ended up getting tickets they needed because there was only a few people that made it through.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I mean, I know that there were tickets last year that went absolutely nowhere. So make sure you plan it out, with your friends or whatever, and especially if you're going to go there for a meetup or whatever, plan it out. Get only the tickets that you need, and really, I don't want to see tickets go to waste, especially when they're $200. That's my thing. So, I mean, 175, that's no big deal. But 200, now we're into some serious cash.
Whoa.
It's not waste tickets here. There are starving kids in Kalimdor that are not going to get to go to BlizzCon if you waste
true. During
tickets.
Children's Week.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They're fine all the other times, but during Children's Week, that's when they need your help.
Oh, man. And for all the information for everything for tickets, make sure to check out the BlizzCon site, worldofwarcraft.com, and you can go click in all that stuff and find out kind of what it's about. Make sure to familiarize yourself with Eventbrite as well, because it is not like last year where you can just go ahead and click one ticket and then change later. No, it starts you off with 0 tickets. So if you click OK, it'll say, okay, now you have 0 tickets.
That's how many you wanted, right? It'll be $0.
That will be $0 with a $4 convenience fee.
Yeah, you still have to pay that.
You have to pay $4 no matter what. So I don't know. But the other big stuff this week, and we should get to this because this is huge. Huge stuff landed this week with a series of blogs. And then also we had an interview this week with Ian Hazzikostas from the lovely Olivia Grace. So we will kind of let's dive into this. Okay. So Colt, can you set us up what this blog was about and kind of how it was laid out and everything like that?
Well, old Blizzard thought to themselves, let's do a timeline, an historical timeline of the raids and raiding in all of World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Which, for me, from a guy that was there from Classic, not Vanilla, Classic, it was kind of nice, actually. I got to admit, like reading, it was basically like, so there was a series of blogs where they talked about like Classic, 2004 to 2006. When WoW launched, blah, 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 blah. There's like Onyxia's Lair and Molten Core, Burning Crusade, 2007 and 2008. 25-player raid sizes were used to kind of improve gameplay and accessibility. It was kind of funny, too, that I remember the 20-man Zul'Gurub and Ruins of Ahn'Qiraj. That was in Classic. I couldn't remember the timeline. I remember doing it. I remember being in a 20-man raid in Zul'Gurub on my Resto Shaman at the time. And what I remember then, well, anyway, I'm not going to go into that, but we had to do like a healer rotation thing. It was crazy. But anyway, it was kind of nice actually looking back, like, oh yeah, I remember those days and all that stuff. But what was brilliant about it was they talked about kind of what they've learned, how raiding used to be and what they've done to change that going forward and the changes they've made throughout. So it wasn't just a trip to the past. It was, this is how it used to be. This is what players did. And this is what it changed. And this was their thought process as it evolved into what we have now.
Right. It was pretty cool. It was pretty neat to see all the different changes. And I did not experience Classic or Burning Crusade for that matter. I came in at Wrath. I came in during the ICC days, so you know, I mean, I just jumped right into Arthas, and that was fantastic. It was a great way to jump in there and get into raiding for sure. And so it was kind of neat to see all the different iterations of what raiding meant as WoW kind of went through the first 4-5 years before I got there. So
it's an interesting thing. A lot of people have rose-colored glasses. Oh, 40-man raids were amazing. Like, well,
no.
Were you actually in one? Or do you remember the hell that it was? But here's what I think. I think that, like, I remember raiding Molten Core, 40-man raid, and I loved it. And the reason I loved it is because I was raiding. It was new. It was fresh. You know what I mean? And now raiding is just kind of normal. It's like what you do, you know? So that's back when Pallies had 5-minute buffs. And that was it. They only lasted 5 minutes. Yeah. So Pallies were constantly recasting their buffs on the entire raid. Like, that's a good time.
Individually.
Yeah,
individually. It was not it was not everyone. You're right. It was individual.
It's so funny the things we complain about now compared to the problems we actually had. We sound like a bunch of spoiled kids.
We do. Yeah. What? No, not at all.
Oh, but man, just like this retrospective has really put all that in light. It's like, man, we have it easy today compared to how it was. Things are so much better.
Oh yeah, definitely that. So I mean, we talk about the 40-man raids. What I didn't know that there wasn't a player cap on instances either. So you had the 10 to 15-man Skullomance runs and stuff like that. That was kind of wild. Did you guys were both classic players, right? I know, Colt, you were alpha.
Were you classic, Darius?
Yeah, I never did. I wasn't raiding like Skullomance and Stratholme back then, though. I wasn't playing like that. No, so I didn't know about that either. So that was news to me.
Gotcha.
But
I was playing a mage at the time. A gnome mage was my first ever character. Oof. I did it because it had more mana.
Yeah,
5% extra mana.
Right.
So I was young and needed the mana. Is exactly a true story. Exactly what happened.
It is.
So yeah, that's back when like mounts were like getting a gold piece was like huge, and a mount at level 60 was 100 gold, and that was like a major deal. Right. You know, to get 100 gold, that took months and months to get that much.
You know what though? For me, getting 100 gold right now takes months and months.
Well,
Seriously, I think it takes months and months for me to make 100 gold now.
You're crazy. You can do like 5 dailies and you're good over 3 weeks.
I know. This is what I'm talking about. I don't do any of that crap.
Well, that's your own fault.
I should, but I don't. Yeah, I know. It's totally my fault. Everybody else is like a millionaire, and I'm like sitting over here on like maybe 1,000 gold. Just like
But what's interesting is when you look at this thing.
Yeah.
You see the mistakes that were made, the things that worked, the things that didn't work, and you get to see truly the evolution of raiding heading into Mists of Pandaria. And what is nice about this blog is it also shows you the next evolution of raiding as we head into Warlords.
Yes, yes, and maybe we should talk about that because I think that is while the trip down memory lane is nice. And fun and very interesting, and it kind of shows you how everything was built and iterated and everything like that. The big news, of course, is how Warlords is going to come out. So, and we've talked about a lot of this stuff already, because most of this was announced at BlizzCon, but it's kind of nice to get back behind everything and just really be able to check out some of this other stuff as well, like the new raid structure. Of course, we're going. You know, now that we have flex mode, flex is going to become normal, normals become heroic, heroics become mythic, and they're all sharing, they're not sharing lockouts at all. Now, even LFR is everything is a separate lockout.
The thing that I'm most excited about is using this flex mode technology for normal and heroic raids, which means that you can have in your regular raid team between 10 and 25 people.
Yeah.
I love that for normal level and heroic level. Yeah. I really like that. So it's a scaling thing. If you got an extra guy, bring him along. If you're short a couple, no big deal. You can still raid. You won't have those attendance boss issues, which plague the majority of raid teams.
Yep.
So I like that they're using this flex technology in the new raids and Warlords.
Darius, how about you? What do you think about all that stuff?
The different lockouts, I think, is good. I like going back to that. It was really confusing before. People are constantly confused to how it affected normal versus heroic. Do I walk in and get locked? Do I have to kill a boss? How does this all work? And I think the way they're going about it is much better. I'm interested to see how much we end up having to run, heroic bosses once we've gotten into Mythic, those kind of things with different lockouts, and going back and killing bosses that we might need loot from or that have tier pieces, things like that. So it could end up meaning more runs in regard to heroic to Mythic. But one of the best changes they've made, and they announced this week, is we won't have to do LFR for tier pieces anymore because they're taking tier and most trinkets out of LFR.
And for that, you get the big applause.
Oh.
What?
Finally.
What?
So, this has been kind of a contentious little thing. You talk about LFR, and I think that people that were, as they were trying to gear up and get those tier pieces and get those different trinkets, they didn't care where it came from because they wanted the proc, or they wanted the extra juice, right?
And if you're just not getting drops, you just I'll do LFR until I get that thing because I need the amp trinket, from a Mercies or something like that.
Right.
Oh. Now it's good news.
It is good news. I think that's good news. Colt, you seem shocked.
Oh, really? You think this is good news?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think, in my humble opinion, that what's happening here is, so you've got more hardcore level players. They're excited about this because, like Darius was saying, they no longer feel the need or have to run LFR because they no longer have to get that trinket if it doesn't drop in the regular raid, or have to get that set bonus. So that's good for the hardcore level players. Now, for the more casual, here's what's interesting. So back in the day, as we were talking about the old raids, I remember standing in Stormwind, standing in Orgrimmar, and seeing these guys, these raiders, and saying to myself, man, I hear these tales of these raids. I hear these tales of adventure and Onyxia's Lair and what is this Molten Core and what is Serpent Shrine Cavern? What is that? It sounds like this amazing epic adventure that I was not able to take part in because at that time my schedule was crazy and I was not able to do a regular raid team. So one thing that I really like about LFR is that allows that to happen. Mm-hmm. As a more casual player, I get to see those epic encounters. I get to see those epic raids. I get to fight the end boss in the expansion.
Right.
So one thing that LFR has brought to the more casual player is access. Being able to see this amazing and epic content, which is great. And I think that's the purpose of LFR. The reason for LFR is you get to now raid. You get to see these raids. And in Warlords, they're supposed to be even a little bit easier. Now, Greg Street called it tourist mode. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
That's why the reason is, by the way.
That's why he was let go. Yes. No.
He was not let
Greg,
go. I think
he was not let go. Greg left on his own. Now, the thing about a casual player, and I have done it all. I've been from the heroic hardcore level progression guild all the way down to not my work schedule changed and I was not able to raid. The thing about a casual player, part of the reason they don't do raids is they don't have the time. They've got kids, they've got a wife, they've got a husband, they've got all this stuff going on, so they can't do it. So one thing that I like that LFR might be going more towards tourist mode is because casuals don't have the time that a hardcore player might. So if it's easier, then it's a quicker clear. You get to see more encounters. You get to kill more bosses. You get to have more success. In LFR now, if you log on, you're going to be wiping for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
Yep.
That's not fun even for a casual player. As a casual player, if I've only got an hour, if LFR is a little bit easier, believe it or not, that's good because in an hour, I can get more done. versus wiping for the next hour. I can kill 2 to 3 bosses.
Right. And it's not like you wouldn't get loot. I mean, it's not like actually they talked about loot. You're actually going to get more loot in LFR than you would in Flex or normals normals, heroics, and mythic. So there will be more drops overall in LFR for people so that they can gear up.
Yep.
Because that's basically what it's there for. It's there for you to see the content, get some more powerful gear, and be able to go to that next step, whatever that next step is for you, whether it's normals or heroics. I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's also going to help to remove those, because people constantly complain, oh, well, the hardcore raiders are in here because they need this gear. They need this, so they're having to run this, and they're the worst ones. They're the ones that are always cranky and yelling, and being able to get that gear quicker in there will move them out. So,
right.
If that's what they're looking for, this is going to help in that regard, which is, I think all of this is a good change.
Yep. It is kind of like this whole big thing where they are taking a look at how they can differentiate these different levels. And one of the other ways that they're doing it, I mean, they're doing it with loot for sure. They're saying, okay, well, let's make sure that you get some more powerful loot, but it won't be something that a normal group player will necessarily want. They might want more power, but they won't get, the cool trinket or the tier sets. They're also doing different art for each level, it sounds like. So I think for each level, as you go, instead of, like right now we have the color variations of the different gear. So if you are playing in the normal mode, you get the red set. And if you're in the heroic mode, you get the green set. I don't know what the colors are. Whatever the colors are, you're getting those different colors. But what they're saying is now you're going to get different art for those different levels. So it's easier to see, like if you are a heroic if you are a mythic raider in Warlords, you're going to get some gear that looks pretty dang cool and that people are really going to want. And I love this part.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. You like that carrot on a string needs to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's the next part of this.
Yeah.
So remember back in the day, I'm sitting there in Orgrimmar and I'm sitting there and I hear these great tales about these raids, but then I see this epic gear. They look awesome. And I say to myself, how can I get that gear? So it is, like you said, it's a carrot on a stick. It's a way to, if I want to look like that. Now, the current LFR gear is still great stats. It still looks good. Some people think, it looks derpy. Other people are like, it looks cool. It goes either way.
Right.
But if you want that specific gear, I think it brings back that old school kind of feeling where you could be in a major city and you could see someone and you saw their gear and they looked all geared out with spikes and all that stuff. And you knew right from looking at them that they were a heroic hardcore level raider. And I think people like that. And for me, as at that time, a casual player, and I saw that, I said, how can I get that? How can I get that gear?
Right.
I got to join a raid team. How can I try and find a way to work that out of my schedule?
Right.
With me, I've now joined a Saturday morning raid team that raids at 6 a.m. server time till 10 a.m. And I do this team because this works with my schedule. Because during the week, it's so erratic. This is the time that I'm doing. So I'm putting in the work. I'm putting in the time because I want to get that gear.
Right.
So that's something to consider as well. That's something to consider is that I'm not saying that you're forced to raid, but you gotta, if there needs to be, if you want the best looking stuff, the best stuff, then you gotta put in the time for it. You gotta find a way to make it work out. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that's a good.
No, I think that's a great thing. And I mean, one of the criticisms of Miss Pandaria was that there was no real reason for people to move out of LFR if they didn't care about the group thing, if they didn't care about, they just wanted to see the story and get the gear that everybody else had already.
Yep.
Well, in Warlords, you're not going to be able to get the gear that everybody else has. I mean, in group raiding, because you're gonna always see the next level. You're always going to see that next level of progression, and you're going to say, "Oh my God, where did you get those shoulders with the nasty gear that's spinning around?" Or all the, and they say, "Well, we're Mythic Raiders. This is what you get if you are a Mythic Raider. You get all the fancy gear with all the moving parts and all that." And you're like, "Oh, I want that." That is exactly what I want, and I think that is what has been missing for a while in raiding, and I'm glad that it's back. I am so glad that it's back.
I mean, even just for people that don't care about the way their gear looks, because you always have people that transmog to back to tier 4, tier 5, or whatever.
Sure,
you've now got everyone that plays the game and raids looks at some kind of list of best in slot items that whether it's on Icy Veins or Ask Mr. Robot or something, and they're going to see on there, this tier chest piece and this trinket are your best in slot. No matter what, these are your best in slot, and you're not going to be able to get that in LFR. You're going to have to go and do some kind of organized raiding, which is amazing. The more people raiding, whether it's at a flex level or normal or whatever, the better. I think this game is better served that way.
Yeah.
So I think this is great. I think this is a good move.
Yeah, and it really does put less emphasis on LFR, which I think is good for those guys that are tackling much tougher content. And it makes them say, you know what? Okay, I can ignore that. That is not for me. That's great. And those guys that it is for should still have a good time, get a lot of loot, and get more powerful gear, so that they might be able to say, okay, well, now maybe I'll try a flex team. I may not always have like consistent time, but that doesn't matter because now everything is flex anyway. So I'll be able to jump into this group when I can, and everything should be fine. So, and that part is amazing too. That's why I'm really looking forward to raiding in Warlords, and I cannot wait for it to get here, and I want it to be here right now. So just flip the switch, Blizz. Come on. Let us in.
Just now. Let's do this.
Let us in. Oh, man. So that's kind of the Raid Finder story. But I know that, and we're going to be skipping between, I think now we're going to be skipping between the blog that was released, the part 3 of that blog, and also the interview with Olivia, because there was a lot of great information released this week. And this interview was just released yesterday, and so we're kind of going through everything. So we may be jumping back and forth a little bit. I suggest you go check both of them out. And the interview is on Wowhead right now, and you can go check that stuff out. And it's a really great interview. It's like an hour sitting down with Ian Hazzikostas, who's the lead encounter designer for Blizzard, and it's really good. It's really good.
I would also say to Blizzard, I mean, what a difference having an actual player interviewing the devs.
Right.
I highly encourage, like the WoW source, I think that they were doing with Morgan Webb.
Yes.
That was, Morgan Webb was fine. It was fine, but she doesn't really play. She's just reading off a list of questions, and that's it. But what's great about Olivia, and I think Blizzard should hire Olivia and have her do the WoW source, because, for example, if Ian gives an answer, because she knows the game, she can do a quick follow-up.
Sure.
Or, she can ask other questions than just reading off a list. And that's better for the player base. That's better for the fan base. And Olivia's one of her own.
Yeah.
She's one of us. One of us, right? Morgan Webb, look, she's incredibly talented. She's wonderful, but she's very busy. She's not into WoW like the rest of us are. Those that listen to this podcast are really into World of Warcraft. Those that check out these streams and everything else, she's just reading off a list of questions. I like having somebody in there like Olivia who can ask follow-ups. She's funny. She's interesting. She does a great job. I think you got to put Olivia in the WoW source stuff. You're going to get way more info, and everyone's going to be much happier.
Right.
So Olivia Grace for president. That's what I'm saying. I think she did a phenomenal job.
Well, I do think that Morgan actually does play some WoW. I'm not sure what her level of play is. I think she does play some. But I know that Olivia is like hardcore PvP, which is good, which is really good.
But it's not just she does hardcore PvP, but she also knows these raids. She knows these classes. Yeah. She knows the game.
Yep.
So I think there's a big difference there when you see the interviewer with the interviewee. You can see the back and forth. And I want the back and forth. As an audience member, I want back and forth. I don't want just reading off a list of questions. But anyway, rant over.
Out of context, that phrase was kind of weird. All right.
Really?
I want the back and forth. That's what you were saying.
Yes.
It strikes me as funny. That's
in all. Conversation.
I get it. I get it. Yes, I'm for. I understand this.
I'm going to give you a Darius sigh on that one.
Yeah, no, that's totally legit. I agree. I agree. I just can't get,
Crane.
some things. Anyway.
Crane.
Oh, boy. Anyway, and I would agree with you, too. I think Liv is great. And, yes, hire her for the WoW Source video. Sure.
Do it.
But anyway, where were we? Oh, so here's one of the things that I kind of wanted to bring up. And I know that this is going to be brought up. I know that Ian Hazzikostas has another interview today, actually, with Final Boss. And I'm sure that this is going to come up because these guys are hardcore raiders, right? These guys are hardcore. These guys are heroic, well, soon to be mythic raiders.
That's right.
And so there was a little bit of rage about flex mode, about what's going to be normal mode for Warlords, and that is that the trinkets are still going to be available. The tier sets are going to be available in LFR mode. I mean, sorry, not LFR mode. In flex mode. In normal.
Whoa, okay.
So all that stuff is going to be available in normal mode for Warlords, which is what flex is now. I know it's confusing for me even. So that means that there may be some mythic raiders that are still doing 2 or 3 clears of content a week, trying to get these tier sets and stuff.
Not totally, because you'll be able to, because they're different lockouts, you can go and you can save a lockout at a specific boss, or they're talking about this key system that they haven't mentioned it much since BlizzCon, but being able to go directly to specific bosses, or having different wings where you can pick. So you're not going to have to run a full 8 bosses or whatever it ends up being. You might only have to run the 1 or 2 that you need, which is much, much better. If I'm going to have to go back and run normal, heroic, and mythic all in the same week, I'd rather just do the bosses we need instead of having to do every boss and every tier every week. That's how you get burnout.
Right. Well, and that is the big concern is there going to be burnout? And Cole, I don't know if you have an opinion on this, but I'll give you some time here.
Well, come on here, heroic raiders. Well, you got your trinkets no longer in LFR. Now you're complaining that it's in normal and heroic now?
Right.
Come on, guys. You already don't have to do LFR now. All right? Be happy. That's a victory. Now you're complaining about this?
Right.
No, I know what you're saying. You got all the different lockouts. You're going to feel that need to have to do it. If your trinket doesn't drop, well, now I got to do it in normal. But now you don't have to do it in normal and then LFR. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's baby steps, baby. Come on.
Well, and it's one of those things where they look at it and they say, oh, the trinket didn't drop in heroic. Well, in mythic. Now I'll drop down to heroic and try it in that. Oh, it didn't drop there. Now I have to do it in normal. So they're doing 3 clears of a boss trying to get one thing.
That is, I guess that's probably valid.
Yeah, but I think, Darius, you have a really good point. And that is that because everything is flexible and because there will be these keyed lockouts, however they're going to work, we still don't really know. It sounds like if you clear up to a certain point, time after time after time, that you'll finally be able to build this crystal or get a key or something will drop where they go, okay, now you don't have to do these bosses if you don't want to anymore. Perfect.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's a great way to do it. I like that.
Just need to hear some more info on that.
Yeah, exactly. But because it's flexible and not everybody will need all of the same loot the same time or whatever, you can have your 10 to 25 people fighting through, these lower ranks for these heroic raiders, the mythic raiders will be able to have these flexible groups going through and just clearing bosses as they need to. And then you can just jump in if you need a trinket or a tier piece or whatever and jump in for that one fight and then pop right back out again. You don't have to be there for the whole thing. So
yeah, that's the big solve. Lockouts. You're right. This and Darius was saying too, lockouts, this key system. I think that's the big solve. It's you're right. And Darius said this earlier, like if you know that you have to log in and clear all 14 bosses, or all 13 just to get up to the 14th boss.
Right.
You know, that's a lot of juice.
A lot of bosses, yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that'll definitely make it a lot easier.
Yeah. It should be at least easier than it has been in the past. It's definitely easier than it has been even in Mists of Pandaria for these heroic raiders. And the other thing that that Ian was saying in the interview was that really what it comes down to is when you get to after the first tier of raiding stuff, you won't feel the need as a Mythic Raider to go back into anything other than heroic. Really, that's the hope. That's the plan. That's what they've got going forward. Is that you shouldn't feel the need to go below heroic for anything. That once we get into it, so it's just this first tier that's going to be kind of tough.
So that means that the eye level is going to shoot up pretty significantly then. For each tier, is that what that means?
I don't know if it means that. I think what it means is that it won't be moving as quickly after that first tier. So I don't know. I don't know about eye level. I know that they talked about eye level.
Well, I just wonder if they're saying that when you get we'll start. What are we starting? Tier 17? Is that the first tier in Warlords?
I have no idea. I get lost in the numbers.
I think it's 17.
With the stat squish, now they're back to 3. No,
tier 1.
Exactly.
Start over.
So in other words, what they're saying is you'll do tier 17. You'll do it in normal, heroic, mythic, and then tier 18 will come out. The new gear in tier 18, even on normal, will be so much better that you will only have to do up to heroic in tier 17 for it to even be relevant. So you won't have to, by doing normal tier 17, it won't even be worthwhile. So I'm assuming that means that there's some kind of a big eye level jump between the tiers, or the gear is just that much better.
I think it's the opposite. If you're doing mythic for tier 17, the power will not be there for 18 normal. So I don't know if we're coming at it from two different ways and saying the same thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yes, correct.
So
right.
the power will be there for the 17 mythic gear. That 18 normal gear will not approach that. So it'll be overlapped a little bit more. So that's
we are saying the same thing from two different but you're right.
Hopefully we've straightened it out for everybody out there.
They're like, what
happened now they're gonna rewind, play it the last 5 minutes.
Crane said again. LFR earlier. What
Huh? Yes, it gets very confusing talking about this stuff because we are waiting for all these different changes to drop. All these different name changes for everything.
Yeah. And there's just so much information out there that was dropped at BlizzCon that's dropped in these interviews. There's now conflicting information coming out in later interviews or later blog posts. It's really hard to keep track of what they're actually thinking of doing here.
Yes.
Let's just release it now, tomorrow.
That's just for the raids. We're not even talking about the classes and all the class changes. You know what I mean? There's so much info out there.
Right. I mean, they are really changing everything around. I mean, they're even changing how we will be approaching raiding for Warlords as far as what we do with dungeons as well. So because there's going to be the so you'll have the normal dungeons, we'll have the heroic dungeons that you can only get into if you have such and such a rating with
silver.
You need a silver rating or above for
Proving ground.
Proving ground. Thank you. I'm like, I know the initials. What does it mean? What does it mean? On names. Anyway, so we'll have the proving grounds that unlock the heroic stuff. And if you are only going through normal mode dungeons, you will jump right into LFR. If you are going heroic mode dungeons, it sounds like you'll be able to probably pass up LFR and go into normal and heroic.
Sounds like
straight away. So for the rating, yes. So that's kind of cool, but kind of confusing at the same time, isn't it, Colt?
What?
I don't know.
No, I mean, and that's the thing is we're talking about all the rating stuff, then all the class changes stuff. There was a big Blizzard post, I think it was by Bashiak, and it was actually really wonderful. And he was talking about all the community feedback, some positive, some negative. And it's tough when no actual play testing has started. You know what I mean? So people are commenting on class changes and why are you nerfing this and that? And Celestalon's like, no, that you're thinking Mists of Pandaria. This is for Warlords. This will work for Warlords. It won't work now. And, it's because all the, the play testing stuff hasn't changed yet. Right. There's a couple of big things. Monks, like Jab, energy cost increase. And all the monks are like, what's going on? Is this going to slow down our rotation? So we're not GCD capped? Some think that's positive. Some think it's negative. And it's like, just wait. Wait till alpha. Wait till beta to see how it feels. Wait. See how it feels before you judge everything.
And I think we're at a good spot right now where we need to tell everybody to calm down.
Yes.
A little bit. And we'd like to remind you, as a group, as a show,
there's a phone number they can call.
There is a phone number that you can call. There is something that will help you along the way. And let's just play it down.
Hi, I'm Coltrane.
And I'm Pat Crane.
And we are here today to talk to you about a very recent issue.
It's an issue that affects most of us, especially orcs.
It's a condition called IFOWISNAWOD. I freak out when I see news about Warlords of Draenor.
That's right, Colt. And it affects 1 in 5 Azerothians.
That's a pretty scary statistic, Pat. Almost as scary as that time I thought Blizzard was going to make garrisons into a daily hub like that of the Golden Lotus.
That's right. You really freaked out there. Like, really freaked out.
I wet 'ems, Pat, and I have the stain to prove it.
No, I mean, I was really concerned for you.
It smells.
My bet. Oh yeah, sorry.
We at the Let's Not Freak Out About News on the Warlords of Draenor Society are looking to help you.
Bring us your tired, your poor, your night elves upset they didn't show their updated character models at BlizzCon.
We can provide the support and care you need to move on from the initial shock from the removal of reforging and get on with your life.
This is Timmy. He was a troll concerned with not being able to learn Flight on Draenor until patch 6.1, and, well, let's let him tell the story.
I was first upset when I read the forum posts about flight restrictions in Warlords of Draenor. Now, thanks to the LNFOANOTWODS, I no longer want to push my berserking button and poop everywhere.
Thank you, Timmy.
And thank you for not pooping.
If you have a loved one who may be suffering or find yourself with these symptoms, please call us.
Call 1-800-CALM-THE-F-DOWN. Operators are standing by.
Call today. I'm not just a founder, but a member as well.
Right. Just like when you read Blizzard was removing intellect on leather items.
Oh, Coltrane.
You just had to bring this up now, didn't you?
Call 1-800-CALM-THE-F-DOWN for your free brochure. That's 1-800-CALM-THE-F-DOWN.
Burn with fire and poop everywhere!
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That really hits it home.
It really
that pretty much says it all.
It really does. It really does.
It says it all right there.
Yeah, it does.
That whole thing plays when I get a phone call.
You have it as your ringtone.
Someone should just make the burn with fire and poop everywhere into a ringtone.
I totally can do that. No, but I think that people do need to kind of step back, and there are a lot of things, there are a lot of changes going on, and we just don't know what a lot of them will do. You just don't. We just don't. It's craziness right now with all the changes going on. It's
a lot of really good changes, though.
So, Darius, we were talking about the path for raiders and what that kind of goes through, what dungeons you do kind of affect what kind of raiding you can do, proving grounds along the way. What do you think about all of that stuff from a, as we go into kind of mythic raiding for our team?
I mean, I think it's good because you're gonna get hardcore players that are gonna do these things anyways. You're gonna go right from leveling. You'll go and you'll do a quick proving ground, which will take you 2 minutes to do, and then you're gonna do your heroic dungeon, so you can get right into the highest level of raiding that you can possibly be in. With any hope of actually killing the boss,
right?
And then just push through from there. You're not gonna, as a hardcore raider, you're not gonna take your time and go through normals, then maybe do proving grounds, then maybe LFR, then maybe heroic dungeons, and then go from there. You're gonna look for the quickest path to get there. So I think this is fine. The proving ground step is a little weird, having to do silver in that. I kind of like the fact that they have to do that so that you can get people that have at least played their class once before they jump into something where
at least once before. That's the big thing. You want to make sure you played at least once before. Great.
So you get that at least reassurance when you jump into something where you have to rely on other people like that, where normal dungeons not so much, and even the way they're talking about LFR, it might not be needed so much, but that kind of gating is good. But I really like the changes they're making. I think it's good for both sides here. There's a lot of complaining, a lot of belly aching on the forums for every change they make, but that's going to happen. And I think in the end, this is good for everybody. So
cool.
I like it.
Yeah. I kind of dig it too. I mean, I don't have a big problem with anything that's going on here, because if proving grounds stay the way that they are, or as far as their difficulty level, I don't think anybody's going to have a real tough time clearing silver. So I don't think that's going to be too tough.
And remember, proving grounds are also going to change. They're saying that they want to make it more of a teaching tool, than how it is now. Now it's just wave after wave after wave, but it's not really teaching you how to play your class. Yep. So it's going to be more of a teaching tool, which would be great. It might suggest rotation. It might suggest do this, do that. When this happens, when this proc happens, do this. Right. Which is a good thing, and I wish they kind of had that now for their boosted 90s. But that's fine.
Yeah, release that first. Release that now, and then...
Just saying, Blizz. Right. These 90 boosts could sure use a little help with the rotation.
That's probably true.
Including myself. I throw myself in there as well. Check out my 16K deeps in LFR, baby. Yeah!
What did you boost? A warrior? Is that the one that you boosted?
I boosted a warrior and a paladin.
Oh, look at you.
Yes.
Look at you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought about boosting a paladin. Then
I know. Then you came to your senses.
Then I stopped a little short, and I said, "Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it."
And I'm tempted to boost a rogue, but I don't know yet for sure. We'll see.
Oh boy!
I want to get him to 60 because I want that. You want to get the
professions? Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, the other kind of cool thing that came out of the interview, I believe, was talking about how these raids are going to release. Okay, how they're going to be released to the public. And Ian said, it's going to be pretty much like the way it was in Mists of Pandaria. We're going to see, the first week that the expansion or the patch is out, we probably won't see any raiding to make sure that people can enjoy their time, level up, not have to like blaze through everything quite as much. There still will be a lot of blazing through content.
Mm-hmm. I will probably do that on multiple tunes. Yeah.
Right. But then the following week we'll see normals and heroics release, and those will just be released automatically. And then the following week is when you'll see Mythic and LFR starting to appear. LFR will be released in waves, as it has been for Mists of Pandaria. And the interesting part is that Mythic raiding, you will not have to clear everything in Heroic to get to Mythic.
What?
You're not going to have to clear everything in Heroic to get to Mythic. You could just jump into Mythic.
What?
I know. That's
insane.
I was a little taken aback.
But you won't... So that's not going to affect many of the really hardcore guilds, because you're going to have normals and heroics released first with Mythic later. Right. So your hardcore teams are going to clear normals and heroic anyway. I mean, normal, they're going to clear through just to get as much gear as possible. It probably won't be much of a challenge. Heroic, they might wipe a few times, but it's the equivalent to normal now, so it's not going to be too challenging. So they're going to do it anyway.
Sure.
If you want to jump right into Mythic without going into normals and heroic first, you can, but that's probably not the best idea.
It's going to be a pretty big step.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of exciting, because now these hardcore guys are going to be like, well, do we get more gear, or do we just head right into Mythic?
Well, now
I wonder, is Method, Blood Legion, are they? I mean, obviously they're the best of the best. They're just going to go straight. But I wonder, guys, do we try and do one more heroic clear before we step into Mythic? Like, is their eye level going to be so low this time? And Mythic, because it's set at 20, is going to be tuned so much better that they're going to get their butts kicked. I don't know if that'll happen, though. These guys are amazing.
Yeah, they really
I mean, what I was saying is Mythic won't be out when Normals and Heroic are out. So they're going to clear Normals and Heroic first because there won't be any other raid content. So
yes, sure.
It's not really a choice. They're going to have to do it.
But I think
what I'm saying is when Mythic does come out, and are they still going to try and do one more clear of Heroic to get one more little bit of gear?
Are you sure about that?
About the race.
Well, because
about the race,
but because of I'm guessing that they'll probably kind of be doing that in their off time, maybe, or something like that. If they have some downtime, they'll be doing that. But one of the interesting things that Ian also said was that it's possible that these Mythic Raiders will be front loading their farm content first in heroic mode, and then go back into Mythic, because you can gear up in Heroic, and because they don't share lockouts, you can do whatever the hell you want.
They'll definitely be running normal or Heroic for a while to get gear, but they're not going to pass up Mythic to continue to run Heroics once Mythic is out.
No, but they might front load. They might put all the farm stuff on first so that they can maximize their gear for those next pulls.
Yeah, if they can run through Mythic in 4 hours, a full clear, however long it takes in the first day on Tuesday afternoon, they're going to do that definitely, and then spend the rest of the week running Mythic. But they're not gonna pass up Mythic. I
agree with that. I mean, of course, it's all about the world race and all that stuff. I mean, absolutely. But I don't know. I just have this thing where I'm thinking that Mythic is going to be so hardcore, But then again, it's amazing to me the level of play of these guys that, I'm on a Heroic level team and we're wiping on these Heroic level bosses. And our team has 20 eye levels higher than these Blood Legion and Method guys.
Right.
When they did this almost a year ago. Right. It's crazy how good these guys are. So they can pretty much accomplish anything. They can cover anything. So
yeah, they really.
But you're totally right. Yeah, when Mythic hits, they're going to go right into Mythic. I just wonder if, we're wiping constantly on boss number 4. So let's go back and do another clear of Heroics. Who knows?
You might as well. I mean, because they don't share lockouts, you can do whatever the hell you want. So it's kind of nice in that respect. True. And you can, as soon as you hit a roadblock, you can say, while we kind of work out the strat, maybe the strat isn't working out. While we work this out, why don't you guys go do, some Heroic content and fill your time doing that? And then in 20 minutes, we'll reconvene and we'll hit this boss again and go and try this new strat, whatever it may be.
That's interesting.
There's that too. So you can definitely fill your time with whatever you need to make sure that you're maximizing your loot drops for these Heroic teams, which I think is a big plus for the world race and for these top end raiders.
Well, you're right though, but the chat room is saying too, and they're right. These Heroic level guys during the race, there's no downtime. They're doing there's no we'll just chill and do some Heroic. They're going to be banging their heads, 8 hours a day every single day, so
right. Well, but Darius, you've been on those teams. What players do have some downtime? Is that right? I mean, some of the players, not necessarily the leadership, but the players have maybe a few minutes here and there, right?
Not much. I mean, if you're one of the better raiders and you're in there all the time, you're raiding 16 hours a day. You've got, there's maybe a minute or two in between pulls, but there's not often a break for hours. You could go 4 hours without a break, and even then it's a half-hour break.
Sure.
Then you're right back into it. There's not a whole lot of downtime.
Right.
There might be if you are absolutely stuck on a boss and you need to take a couple hours to do theory crafting, you might have a break then.
Mm-hmm. But the leadership wouldn't, but the players might.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Jeez. So, MX Troll in the chat room said that Trekkie had mentioned that they do 16 hours.
Yeah.
Like Darius said. So my 8 hours, that's totally casual. I can't believe I said 8 hours a day.
Jeez. What are you doing?
Casual.
You don't do 8 hours a day. You do 8 hours a week, maybe.
No, I said they will be doing 8 hours a day.
All right. I'm sorry.
16.
I'm sorry. We do 8 hours a week now, and we feel like totally badass because we doubled our time. And we're like,
I used to have a shirt, you know, that said LFR badass that I used to wear all the time. But now I'm back on a team and I no longer have to wear the shirt.
I love it. Now, another thing that came down was talking about Valor points.
I loved it. I think this is great. This is another change.
Essentially, they don't know exactly what they're going to do with Valor points, but they're saying that Valor points are basically not going to do anything for Warlords. That's what it sounds like. Right, Darius?
Yeah, so they're taking out item upgrades, which is great because I thought that was always a silly thing to have in there. They're not going to be gear vendors anymore either, similar to what they had for or what they have now. You're not going to be able to buy raiding gear with Valor points. There just won't be an option. According to this, really all they're going to do with Valor points is for heirlooms and small things like that. They says they haven't figured it out totally, but essentially you're not going to be using it for cutting edge raiding, which is great because I've always felt like Valor points is something that I have to do every week. I have to cap. I have to get them all. I have to spend all of them on upgrades, or I have to get this piece of gear or something like that just won't drop in raids. And it's always a pain. So I like this change. This is a good change.
How about you, Colt?
This is good. I mean, dailies, that was a thing that we felt like we had to do, especially when Myst first launched. Right. You know, players don't like that. Even hardcore guys, because it's just one more thing that they have to add to their list that they have to do in addition to everything else. And another big one was Valor capping. That was a huge, huge thing. The way it is now is if you get a brand new piece of loot, you need to have the Valor to double upgrade that thing ASAP and get that going for the next fight. Well, and in order to do that, you need a Valor cap.
And that was that was one of those things, like the upgrade system just didn't work out the way that they thought it might, because it became this thing that you had to do. So it became this very uninteresting thing because you just have to make sure that you're enchanted, gemmed, and upgraded as much as you possibly can.
Right.
Yeah. You know, do the double upgrade right away. Sure. It's not something you built for. It's something you saved up for. And that was not the way that it was intended, really.
I liked the idea of the upgrade system that, in essence, you buff the player rather than nerf the raid.
Right.
I love that idea, so that the raids don't lose 5% health as time goes on. By upgrading your armor with more Valor and more gear, you'll conquer the bosses. Like, I love that idea, but I'm totally fine with them getting rid of item upgrades, especially because of a balance issue. Because they have to balance these encounters, assuming that everyone is going to double upgrade their armor and weapons.
Right.
But what if somebody doesn't? What if they don't have time to Valor cap and upgrade both their weapons? Right. You know, then the encounter is a little bit more difficult. So I like that they're getting rid of these things. I like that Mythic is 20. It all makes a much more balanced and finely tuned raid encounters. So I think that's good.
Yep. I would agree with you on that. The other note is about garrisons, and I'm still worried about garrisons, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
What are you talking about? I gave you the whole speech last week. It's gonna be great.
I know. I'm still worried about it. Still worried about it. A little bit worried about it. Still worried about it. It sounds. I mean, it sounds nice. Even the interview where Ian was talking about garrisons, he's like, you know, it's not gonna be, if you don't want to quest leveling up, you don't have to, but maybe you should. So you probably want to. You probably want to. That's what I heard in the back of my head.
Should.
It's like, you probably want to. You just go ahead and do that, because otherwise you're really missing out on some leveling up experience. Because otherwise you're going to have to pay gold to get the same stuff that you could for free leveling up, making gold on these quests and stuff like that. So it sounds like garrisons are definitely going to be one of those things you want to work on as you level, and that means questing through. So if you're not a quester, it's not going to be your favorite thing, I don't think. Garrisons. And it's not going to be best for everybody, and I think even Ian said that, didn't he? I think he said that, you know, there were a bunch of changes, and they weren't necessarily going to be best for everybody. They were going to be best for the majority, or best for the game, or whatever it is, but it's not going to be best for everybody, and I think that's one of those areas that it's not going to be best for everybody. That's for sure. Right.
Well, the big thing he said too, garrisons are not meant to feel like dailies in general. If you get off work, you're tired, you just want to relax and wipe an LFR. No, I'm just kidding. That won't happen. You shouldn't feel obligated. You should not feel obligated to do garrisons. I'm really jazzed that LFR is amazing.
I love that. If you just want to come home, kick off your shoes, and wipe an LFR for a few hours,
that's right.
That is totally up to you.
Totally fine. Totally fine, baby. Nothing to worry about.
But you shouldn't be wiping an LFR for Warlords. That's the other thing, is they want to make sure you get through there. So if you're running LFR, if you're an LFR raider, if you're an LFR hero, it should get a little bit better for you.
Absolutely. Another big thing that they're adding is this group finder. I'm really jazzed for this group finder thing, man. Holy cow. This is going to be great. For those of you that don't know, there's already kind of a basic version in the game now. If you click on some tab, click on raid. And
it's the raid tab.
It's the raid tab. It's just, I think it's, is it
raid
I?
tab.
I think I is the one for, anyway, go ahead.
Well,
sorry.
Anyway, you can select what you want. I do this all the time for Ordos and Celestials. On my main or on my alt, you can list yourself as DPS, tank, or heals. And then raid leaders can simply, they see that list and boom, 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 they can invite you. One thing I like about this group finder thing, there will be a standard queuing UI, and you cannot create a group with eye level requirements beyond your own.
Right. Right. That is actually pretty key, because that means that you can't just be looking for a free ride.
That's right. So you can't be at a 530 eye level and say only 555 plus. You know what I mean?
I want to carry, damn it.
That's right. So that's huge. That's great. And also, loot can either be personal loot, like we have right now in Flex or in LFR, or via the raid leader. So if you trust your raid leader, if it's all a group of you that you guys know or whatever, he can hand out the loot, or it can be personal loot. So that's cool.
Huh. It's pretty cool. Darius, do you have any thoughts on this particular thing as well? Group Finder?
The group finder is great. Like Colt said, I use it for Ordos and Celestials on my different tunes. It's super easy, super quick. You don't have to think about it. So an improved version of that is going to be great. I love the eye level change. No more carrying people through or things like that. I think that's great. And again, the more people we get raiding, the better. And this tool will help facilitate that. So
now, with all the changes, and that brings up a good question. With all of the changes coming up for Warlords, do you think that this will help entice people to raid more, or entice those LFR heroes to actually step up into group raiding and into normals and heroics? And do you think that it's also, how do you think it's going to play out as soon as this stuff drops with all the information we know at this time? Coltrane, why don't you start? Do you think it's going to be a good thing for the raiding community overall?
This is going to be an incredible thing, but here's why. You're going to see that guy in Stormwind or in Orgrimmar, and he's going to have that epic, amazing loot. And you're going to be like, how do I get that epic, amazing loot? I need to raid. All right, what do I do to raid? I need to raid normals. Oh, well, I can go to Group Finder, and I can easily find something. Also, it's all cross-realm. I don't even have to be on the same server. They've made now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. This group finder, I believe, can be used to find raids, right?
Yeah. It should be there to find whatever you need. So, any of the cross-realm stuff that you can do it through that group finder.
Right. So all of the crazy stuff as far as trying to get a raid team. Well, I gotta search the forums. I got to say, looking for raid team. I got to sign up for their website. I got to apply to a guild. All that stuff is taken out. With a click of a button, you can join a raid immediately, not even on your same server, and you can get that loot that awesome guy has in Stormwind or Orgrimmar. It's never been easier, and it's never been a better time to be a raider, especially in Warlords. I'm super jazzed where this thing is headed.
And you said it before. Where do I get that great gear? And with the different changes that they have to the artwork and stuff like that, that is what I'm really psyched for, and that is what I think will be the carrot on the stick for a lot of people as you move forward. Is I want that piece of gear. How do I get it? And if it's you have to be a heroic, raider. Great, that might be attainable if I work at it, if I really work at raiding, if I really get into this thing. And then maybe they'll discover along the way how fun it is to work with a group of people at this content, at this, this great content that Blizzard has put out. And, you know, in my opinion has never changed. This is the greatest content in the game for me. And I love hanging out with the guys on, you know, Sunday and Monday nights for me, and hanging out with the guys down in bosses, or even just wiping on bosses. That's fine too. It's still fun for me, no matter what. And I'm going for that best gear. I'm going for the loot. I'm going for the camaraderie. I'm going for all these different reasons. And I want more people to discover that. I'm pretty stoked about this too. How about you, Darius?
Really excited.
Now you're there. Okay.
No, I'm here. I'm excited for this. Like I said, the more people, the better. I think someone said this. I can't remember where I read it, but people have the quote was something like, people have unnecessarily relegated themselves to LFR in the past. That they have stuck themselves in there because they think they don't have enough time, or they think that rating is too hard, or whatever it is. And for the most part, that's not true. And you're stuck in this system now where people are just queuing solo to do an instance basically by themselves, which is not rating in any way. So I think these changes are going to get people to really think about doing a normal or a flex or whatever it is, instead of doing LFR, because they're going to see this better gear. They're going to want, you know, the trinket or the cheer piece, or they're just going to want to experience rating, which is what LFR is moving away from. And I think it's good. I mean, we're a rating podcast. We talk about rating. I'm a raider, and the more people that raid, the better.
Yeah, so. I would agree with that. Now, is there anything else from either the blog post or from the interview that you guys want to talk about? Because I want to make sure to leave it open for you guys, because there was a lot of information here, and I just wanted to see. Colt, do you have anything, or Darius?
Well, there was a lot of it. Go ahead.
I was just say though, the seals, Warforged seals.
Oh, right.
They're changing that, and I think in a good way. You only be able to earn one at a time, and it's not through lessers. It's just through random activities, like maybe a quest or killing X number of orcs, they say in Nagrand, or clearing a dungeon or something like that will give you a seal, which I think is a much better way to do it. Farming lesser charms to turn into greater charms has always been a pain.
Yeah.
So
you wouldn't get all three at once. You'd earn them one at a time up to 3.
Yeah.
Which is
so the cap is still 3.
The cap would still be 3, but you could earn up to 3 one at a time, which is kind of a different way to do it. And you can do it. You might be able to do it through garrisons, through weekly quests or whatever. So
yeah, they're saying maybe killing so and so amount of orcs in the Grand,
right?
Doing something in Ashran. I like having the variety of it. Yeah. The way it is now, it's like, well, I got to get my seals and I need lessers. So that forces me to go to Timeless Isle and grind on frogs all day.
Right.
You know, until you get what you need, or do those quests. I like having the variety of it. I'm just glad. At first, when I read that, I was like, they're only giving us one? What?
Like, yeah.
Right.
I mean, you get one total.
Oh my gosh. And if you get gold, I mean, you think people are mad now.
Right. Oh God. Wouldn't that be horrible?
When you use your one and it's gold. Oh my gosh.
Oh no. Ugh.
Speaking of, I bonus rolled a heroic weapon. So I now finally have 2 heroic weapons.
Hey, congratulations. Yeah. I'm going to give you the big applause.
Thank you. Very happy about that.
Nice work, buddy.
Thank you. But I was not Valor capped, so I was not able to double upgrade. So I only single upgrade.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Tough stuff. I don't know. Colt, was there any particular thing that struck you during the interview or during the blog stuff that you want to touch on?
What struck me was the amount of information we got, because the interviewer actually plays WoW. So I encourage Blizzard to use Olivia Grace for future WoW source shows and for future interviews. Just wanted to put that delicately.
I know that she's right there.
I just wanted to put it delicately as possible. There's a reason this interview was so great.
There's one word that I would describe that.
I feel like you have a strong opinion on
delicate.
This.
Delicate was the name. Delicate. That was the word that I would put for that outburst. Right.
Absolutely.
There. All right. Now, I took a look around MMO Champion this week. They've been releasing a bunch of the different artwork. We were talking about the gear for all the stuff. They're changing all the artwork. But one of the things that I did notice was that we no longer have class sets, right? So we no longer have a hunter set or a shaman set. We have a male set. and we no longer have Pally or Death Knight. We have a plate set. And I like what they're doing with the different artwork for the different levels. You know, that kind of idea of, hey, you're downing heroic content. You get a little bit of a zing on your gear, whatever that zing may be. But I don't know. I'm kind of missing the class armor. Do you guys find that same thing happening as you look at the armor art that's coming out? Are you missing like the rogue set? The rogue set was always like one of those things I looked at and I was like, oh, rogue set. It's either awesome or awful.
Right. I always like, yeah, exactly. That weird like alien thing during Wrath of the Lich King or whatever. 10
or whatever it was.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
strange.
was. Crazy. Kind of alien bipod. I don't know. It was insane. But the thing is though, do we know yet what this gear is for? Is this quest gear? Is this LFR gear? Do we know what this is yet?
They've listed some of it as craftable gear. They've listed some of it as tier gear. They've kind of broken out some of the stuff as far as what it's going to be, where it's going to be dropped as it stands right now. Anyway, so but I mean, just the fact that we're down to let's see, cloth, leather, mail, plate. So we're down to 4 different looks. Essentially, instead of 11.
Right.
Darius, how do you feel about that change?
I've felt for the last couple content patches and even just kind of MOP in general that Blizzard has kind of given up on amazing artwork for gear. That they've kind of accepted the fact that people are going to transmog, and they're going to usually transmog to something older. You've got some people that leave gear the way it is, or they might transmog some of the newer stuff, but most people you see out there are transmogged into an older tier piece, or something from Black Temple or something like that.
Sure. And the chat room is going against me already. They're saying that there's class specific tier. I apologize if I'm wrong. I only see like these 4 different tier sets these 4 different armor sets coming down. So. But I think your point is still valid, Darius.
Yeah, I think that's the way it has been. That's the way I've felt, because even the tier that's come out, the set pieces for specific classes in the last couple raids have been underwhelming. I felt, so that's kind of how I think is I think is happening here.
That's also people's opinion. You know what I mean? I mean, some people really like the current stuff, and it also varies from class to class. Some people love like the challenge mode sets. For Monk, I think is terrible, but some people really dig it. I think across the board, no one really likes the Monk challenge set. But anyway, I do like with transmog. It's all up to you. It's all based on what you want to do. Look at paladins, man. I've seen so many different looking paladins than anything I've ever seen. They've had so many interesting tier sets over the years, from that judgment set to like the one with like the wings, to the one where they're blue and gold, to the
the eagle set, or whatever the hell it was, and
the eagles. Yeah. It's crazy. But I think we did see a leak of, I think it was the warrior tier set, and it looked awesome.
Was that the one the one with the spinning shoulder pieces and stuff like that?
It was like the little ball in the garrosh encounter, like that big ball of doom.
Yeah,
it looked like you got 2 of those on your shoulders. I forgot what they're called, but anyway, so anyway, it's an interesting thing. I mean, I don't mind this like cloth gear, mail gear. I don't seem to mind it. You're right. The majority of us are going to be transmogging it anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm kind of indifferent about this.
To be honest, when I'm out in the world, I don't really notice it all that much. I don't really. I mean, obviously, if you're going to, I think with the new emphasis with different art for different cleared raids and stuff like that, that will probably bring me back into it. Especially with the moving parts and the the mythic only artwork that's going to be coming out for the gear. I'd be looking at that going, oh wow, that looks pretty special. I don't know.
That looks pretty.
One thing I got to say too, they also kind of data mined the paladin set.
Yeah.
And it does look like a kind of reamped up version of the Burning Crusade set. And the chat room is saying the same thing with Warriors as well.
Right.
So I wonder if these tier sets, besides Monk, will be a reinvigorated version of that TBC set. And some of the TBC sets are pretty famous. Those were some of the favorites. But the Paladin one looked amazing. And this Warrior one I thought looked amazing. So maybe this kind of revamp, and it kind of fits with the expansion because we're like going back. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, and you know, I would almost make the argument for everything as well, looking and feeling more like BC and Wrath era rating. Just overall, with all the changes that they're making, it's like they're going back there and saying, you know, we'll do a few things differently, especially with flexible rating and kind of improve on some of these systems that were there. But a lot of the changes look and feel like they're trying to get back to what rating was all about back in the BC and Wrath era. And that's kind of interesting as well. I mean, they're changing like the lockout system, but they're bringing in this new art. They're bringing in all these different things that make it feel like BC and Wrath to me. I don't know if you guys see that as well.
Chat room is saying too that the Warrior set might not look like the TBC set. If that's true, I don't know. I don't play a Warrior. I don't remember the set back then. Right. Some people were saying it was, but I know for a fact that Pally set, ooh baby, that looks like the old Pally from the TBC. From the Burning Crusade. So I dig it, man.
Darius, now what do you think about that? Do you think that they're trying to capture or to recapture that lightning in a bottle that was BC and Wrath era rating with all these different changes?
I don't think so. I think they know that you can't do that. That everyone's looking back at this with rose-colored glasses.
Sure.
And they have these unrealistic expectations. I think they are taking lessons from that type of rating and from all the rating they've done, and all the gear and all the changes they're making to the game and everything, and making a really good expansion out of that. But I don't know. Maybe with the way they're kind of going a little weird with this time travel thing, they're trying to maybe capture some of that. But I think they're too smart to try to recreate that.
Sure, sure. And I think last up, we have another thing. Colt, you wanna talk about what you were doing this week?
Oh yeah, sure. So I popped an old question on the old tweeter, and I said, "Question for you. I have always heard, quote, Warcraft caters to the casuals, but now with these recent changes with the LFR and all that stuff, I am hearing Warcraft caters to the elitists. So my question is it now both?"
Right.
Is it both?
Is it both? And what were some of the answers? I mean, we don't need to get into necessarily specifics, but you can if you want. Were there any responses that seemed to jump out at you, or what was the overall consensus, I guess?
Well, one that really sums it up well. Fred the Geek said, Warcraft caters to whatever group I don't self-identify with. Which is
that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up.
That is it.
Right there.
I think Halinka had a really good one too. His just said elite casuals.
Oh, that's right.
That's pretty much it. That's it.
But no, Rose said, it's all about perception, right? Each player and playstyle has expectations. It's about perception. When they're not met, beware the internet flames. I feel the game caters to casuals more than elitists because there's more casuals out there. That said, their philosophy definitely promotes greater reward at greater challenge, and that's fine by me.
Yeah, and I would actually say that I don't think that it necessarily caters. There have been times where it's gone one way or the other. I would agree with that. I don't think that right now, looking at all these changes and kind of really trying to put them all together under one roof, you want to get casting the widest net, I guess. I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know who this is catering to, if anybody. Maybe it's catering to the family and friends group, the ones. They're not necessarily casual, but they're more casual than the hardcore guys, but they're more committed than the LFR guys. So maybe it's kind of in the middle. I don't know.
Definitely tell you the one group this does not cater to.
Yeah.
And that's the pet battlers.
Well, you're right about that.
That is,
we can all agree on that.
Right. Pet battlers, you're screwed.
That's right.
Where's the uproar, the rage from the pet battlers? Because there's been no pet battle news. There's been no new pets to talk of. There's no revamp of the pet battle system. There's no.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
Where's the outrage?
Even
does not convert to pet battles.
Even the questers get something with garrisons. I mean, come on.
This is
where
crazy.
Is the outrage?
One
Right.
more point.
Yeah.
Sparkle Beard at Ironford says, I think LFR made too many rewards available for too little effort. Less incentive to jump up. I feel rewards should be readily available, but should I don't know how to say that word. Right, but isn't that spelled weird? But basically, it should go along with the amount of effort that's required to earn them.
Should be commensurate with the effort.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So, commensurate.
Commensurate, right. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. And it seems like they're taking that cue with the artwork stuff as well, and no tier for LFR, and none of those raid specific trinkets for LFR.
It's a strange thing, man, and we talked about this at the beginning. It really kind of looks like if you, the listener, are willing to keep an open mind and listen to the other side, it really seems like LFR now is going to help out the more type of casual player that maybe has a busy lifestyle.
Right.
And it also is going to help out the more hardcore player that has a lot more time to play WoW. In a weird way, if you look at it, it does kind of seem to be catering to both. But usually when you cater to both are unhappy. That's usually how it works. Yeah. But this all looks good to me.
Yeah.
From a player that's done both heroic hardcore progression all the way down to LFR. I'm happy with both sides of this. Right. And I'm happy with how it's going.
And it was really funny because you posted that question, and then in the interview with Ian Hazzikostas that Olivia did, Ian was actually brought this up at the end of the interview, and he said it makes him a little bit sad that the issue has to be framed as casual versus hardcore, or elitist versus everybody else, or catering to one side at the expense of the other. Ultimately, Blizzard is trying to make an exciting game for all types of players, trying to craft a fun, balanced, and exciting game. And he just wants everybody to
there it is.
Just enjoy the game.
You're making him sad with these comments.
Coltrane, you made Ian sad.
Hey, I am not.
Please
these are not
stop.
my words. These are not my words. These are the words that I'm reading on 10,000 threads on the MMO forums.
Have you ever seen Hazzikostas' tears?
Oh my gosh.
They're
terrible.
Right.
They're like that Starman guy. He feeds on your tears. Isn't that an achievement?
You don't want to see Hazzikostas' tears.
Right, but no, he brings up a very good point. It shouldn't be that it's all about hardcore versus casual versus elitist.
Right.
Like they're trying to create something for everybody, and I really think, especially heading into Warlords, I feel that they've done that. And if we can, our fellow, you yourself, listening, watching, try and embrace that idea too.
Right.
You know, try and look at it from the other angle, from the other side, and you might find that same thing. So
unless, of course, you're a pet battler.
Yes.
In which case,
clearly,
you are screwed.
Sorry.
Yeah,
right,
we're very, very sorry. Speaking of very, very sorry, we're just gonna have to skip to the end here, fellas. That has to be the end of the. We have questions, we have other stuff that we had in the show notes, but this talk, I mean, there's a lot of information here, and it's very important for I think all of our listeners out there, and I hope that you glean something from this discussion. And if you haven't, even if you have, make sure to read those blog posts if you haven't on worldofwarcraft.com. Make sure to check out the interview on Wowhead. And there's going to be another one today with Final Boss. Check that out as well. And they're from all different angles. There's going to be a bunch of different information for these different audiences. And I think that it's all going to be really telling as far as what's going to be happening with Warlords. So get ready for it.
Excited.
Yeah. But for right now, we should probably get into 5-star reviews. And Darius, did you actually do your job this week?
No, I did not. I didn't do that.
Darius, what are you doing?
One job.
Right. Are you looking it up right now?
Yes.
All right. Then we'll first start out with shout-outs.
Yes. Let's vamp.
What do you have for shout-outs here, Coltrane? Do you got anything?
I've got a big happy birthday message to Demonic Rick.
Hey,
it's his birthday.
Happy birthday! I'll give you the big applause too. Why not? Sure.
Big shout out to Demonic Rick.
Yeah.
Another big shout out.
Yeah.
I saw something I've never ever seen before. I was completely floored. Brutal.
Yeah.
He's my brother from another mother.
Yeah.
He's from the guild Static. Brutal from Static.
He loves tacos.
He loves tacos. He's this amazing guy.
Yeah.
He was live streaming his raid against Heroic Garage. And he's the tank that picks up the ads, kites the ads.
Yeah.
And I guess in one of the phases, he doesn't have to do much for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So he literally pulls out his guitar and starts playing and singing about the raid during the fight. It was unbelievable. So he literally had he was playing while he was playing World of Warcraft. It was incredible. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It was actually during the raid on Heroic Garage. So big shout out to Brutal. That was awesome, sir. I've never seen anything like that.
That's cool.
And also, as we were saying earlier, Final Boss TV has Ian Hazzikostas. They are on today at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 p.m. Pacific. Ian Hazzikostas is going to be on Final Boss TV with Bay and NFL answering all your questions. So make sure to tune into that today.
Yep.
And it should be.
Yep. Or if you're getting this program a little bit later, just make sure to go check it out. Final Boss. Darius, did you look up the stuff now?
Yes, and we have no new 5-star reviews.
What?
There you go.
So
they're all 1 stars.
They're all 1-star reviews. Damn.
We have no new 1-star reviews either. I would read those if we did.
It says, why does Darius sigh all the time? That's what a lot of it is.
That is every single comment that we ever get. I know that people talk to us on the YouTubes and through Gamebreaker TV and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for that, guys. Really do appreciate it. And wait, hold on a sec. I gotta bail on the music.
No.
Well, you're just gonna bail out? Bail out of that?
Just gotta bail out of that one, and I'm gonna play this one.
Ooh.
Okay. This one's nice. I always like this one.
Up?
Ah, yes. Now, if you want to get a hold of us, if for any reason, make sure to email us at converttораid@gmail.com. You can call us and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can follow us on Twitter at converttораid, or even individually, isn't that right, Coltrane.
You can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. You can follow Coltrane at _Coltrane. And you can follow Darius at Board Mine.
That's right. And make sure to join the Bazuba Guabo Nation by heading over to converttораid.com, where we have show downloads, forums, tons of links for raiders, and so much more. Video stuff is over there. Our live feed and video show is also on gamebreaker.tv. Please make sure to watch, like, comment, share, subscribe, all those different things that you can do with videos these days. It's amazing what you can do with the videos these days.
It is. All the kids in their videos.
The audio show is available at Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iTunes, all sorts of places like that. Make sure to sub up. Do it. And that is going to be it for the show. We hope you guys learned a lot. We hope you had some fun. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show next week. Actually, I will see you on our next show next week. These two monkeys, they will not be here.
That's right. Gonna be gone.
But we will still record Sunday, 11 a.m. Central. And for all the guys at Convert to Raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.